911, what is your emergency? I hear shots! Okay, ma'am, calm down. What kind of shots?
Down.
Yeah, let me just do the intro. This is the intro, first start of Frankenstein engine in rescued 172 from the Gold Coast. Oil burner, blown thing, gearbox out of another car, rebuilt. Mission on, clutch works, foot on clutch. Alright, give it a crank. Crank it over. Is there a flashing light on the dash?
Nothing's flashing.
So the security light goes out?
Yep.
Okay. Crank it again. It's going to have to feed through the stuff. So give it another crack. Stop. Crank it again. We got stale fuel. Crank it again. Stop. We're getting one little bunt. It's trying to start. Give it another one. Stop. Stop. You gotta, when it goes bump bump and then doesn't, stop it again. Alright? We're still trying to purge the lines. Give it another crack. Give it another one. Give it another one. Well, we're nearly there. Way! You gotta expect that. Give it another one. Give it a rev. So what you gotta do is give it a rev because it's got no extractor. So once it fires up, give it a little touch on the throttle. Start it again. Rev it. You're not getting any throttle response.
Yeah, there's no throttle. Well, maybe because it's not plugged in.
Is it plugged in at your end? So the problem was the throttle position sensor wasn't plugged in.
That should be plugged in now.
It wasn't plugged in?
No, it wasn't.
No, okay.
It smells nice.
Put on the clutch.
Does the thing work?
We'll find out.
Is that working?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, your throttle's working. That's enough.
It starts.
It's running on 3 cylinders.
Yeah.
That's 3 cylinders, and dogs are barking. Neighbours' lights are coming on. Whether we got a time check, it's 8:44. The neighbours have just come home to this sound. Don't crank it anymore, Woody.
I'm not. I'm shutting the window. We're done.
So yes, we have ignition, we have explosion, but we have 3 cylinders, not 4.
How does central locking works?
Alright. I've only got to get it to run on 4 cylinders now.
Yeah. Oh, could that be this?
It could be a multitude, but at least we can scan it now and see what the
issue is.
What the misfire cause is. Could be the second-hand spark plugs. Could be dodgy ignition leads. Could be a bunch of things. But geez, it's got some compression.
Yeah.
It's got some overlap. It's got some serious detonation.
Smells good.
Is there any? Did any oil get up to the top of the motor?
Yep.
Yep. Look on the underside of the cap. Show me the under. Look, there we go.
It's oil.
That's the spatterings of oil. Check the dipstick. It smells like an engine that's just been started. Yeah, we'll give it a wipe. There's a 50 million rags here. You wouldn't want to be our neighbours, would you?
Trim stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wet.
Did you give it a wipe? How far up the stick is it? Oh, yeah, so there's plenty of oil. We got oil pressure. We got ignition. We got fuel. We got also got dodgy fuel. God knows how old this fuel is in the tank. So, yeah. And then we've got, what's the other issue? So we've got the oil level pressure, the oil level sensor, wiring. We've got ignition. We've got the
injector.
The injector number 4
is worn a bit.
The insulations come off. The shieldings come off. The shielding insulations come off it. It's got no water in it, but it cranked and it's fired, and it smells like a Renault. She's got that is some serious boom.
Yeah, it's very vibrating as well.
Yeah, well that's the 3 cylinders running. Oh. Alright. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thought? Alright, let's close it down before the police come. Alright, here we are back with the Woody build. I'm just zooming in here. So you saw us, we got it fired up the other day, which was an achievement. We've sorted out the misfire issue, which was cylinder 1 and 2 leads back to front. So if you ever get the mother of all misfires, guys, go straight back to that. Oil's in, power steering's in, exhaust is in. So now we're looking at the cooling system. Now, as we bought this car not running, is a bits and parts salvage project that had been crashed. That's why the bonnet had to be another second-hand one. We've still got a bit of a knock in here at the front. We've got to look at doing something with that. What I did grab is this here. You'll see I put 1.4, or because I stripped out a Clio 1.4 twin cam 4-cylinder. You'll see it in some of the other videos. White 4-door, Woody's original car. Had electrical gremlins and the throttle body. Couldn't get to the end of it. Couldn't buy another one. Gave up. Stripped it out. So what I've done is I've kept the Bart, because we all know on a 172, if this fitting here, which is the one that sits under the power steering sensor, if that fails, if it gets oil on it, fails, this component is the most expensive part you'll ever buy. So you can either go silicon or you can go second hand. If you go new, when they do manufacture them and they were out of stock for a while, it's ridiculous. It's like $800 Australian. So what I did is I grabbed all the bits that came off this motor, because a lot of them are very similar but not identical. And I think it's partly because, and I'll explain this, the airbox on a 172 sits here. The airbox on a 1.4 and all the poverty packs, as you probably see, if you've ever seen, it sits around the back here. Okay, so with the 1.4 airbox, which is dedicated, sorry, the RS, the 172 and the 182 airbox is dedicated to the Clio 2 litres. That's why the air filter only comes for a 172. Now, because of this airbox, they've redesigned the top radiator pipe. It's the same outlet, the same inlet, but they had to drop it. I don't know whether you can see that, but this is a 1.4. It comes straight out and goes down, whereas the 2 litre goes straight out, drops, and then it goes across and plugs in. So this is where the differences are. The other difference is it's the same for the bottom fitting up, and the same fitting that goes back to your water reservoir for the air bleed, but down here this pipe's different. because it comes off a different water pump extension housing. So I wanted to have a look at this because you can't get these the 2 litre ones cheaply and readily. I'm trying to develop a kit, a light that lightweightens my car and keeps it reasonably cost effective and common when I want to do a radiator hose. Now the other thing I ended up with was a 1.4 radiator itself. Now the difference is, well, there's a few differences, but it's mainly the side mounts, and it's slightly, I think it's slightly bigger and it interferes here. However, I've done the AC delete on my race car, so I'm really just doing a check fit on Woody's car for a 1.4 standalone radiator to replace mine in my race car. And obviously you guys would have seen guys with ITBs coming out here, they need a lower profile. This probably isn't the answer, but it's certainly a solution. I've used the 1.4 fan, the plug plugs straight in, so there's a few little wins there. So these 1.4s will drop straight in, but if you're running a big airbox or a different induction system and you've relocated the battery, you can just go down. If you need a top hose, just go down, grab the one out of a poverty pack, 1.4 Clio 4-door, or 1.2, or maybe even a diesel. I don't know. I'm sure they all interchange, but it isn't the same shape. But if you're not running an airbox, it's probably not going to be a problem. So I just thought I'd add that, and I'm going to do a bit more of a build when I do my one up. But really the goal here was to seal the system up, get some water in it. We want to flush out the system that's the heater, the internal heater cores. Not that we need them here in Australia, but it's an ADR requirement, so design rule or roadworthy or MOT requirement in our country, you'd say, that you actually have a heater inside the car for those days, tropical downpour, when it rains and you need to defrost your windscreen or defog your windscreen. So yeah, that's got to be done. So we've got to get that washed out, cleaned out, system flushed up. But realistically, it's all coming together, and so really we're ready just to plumb some water into it, put some fittings on a couple of pipes, and away we go. Put the lid on, because really what I want to do is a pressure test on the system. So in order to do a pressure test, I'm going to need to basically seal the system up and see where it leaks. Alright, well I've got the fill going in, garden hoses in it. As you can see, garden hose is going in. I've got the bleeder that's located there, put that out, all the clamps on that I think I need. Levels coming up. Keep that going. I like to see it come out the air bleed before I put the air bleed on there. I've got the 1.4 fan connected, so hopefully our heater core is going to fill and not leak, because that's really a popular leak for most people. So if we've got a leaky leaky heater core inside the car, I'd really like to know now before we put the whole dashboard in. And then once the dashboard goes, we can fix that before the dashboard. Just put pressure there. See if we can get this thing to bleed out. Doesn't seem to be in a hurry. Alright, I'm just going to start it up. Try and work air through. Trickling the water in, right? You want to see? That's what I'm doing here, guys. Not much. Fill up again. Fan's not kicking in yet. Clear any airlock. Give it another hit. Yep, that water's getting real hot now. You see the idle speed just dropped. So we're getting temp into our motor. Shut that off. Take this over, this on the plants for the time being. Alright, now I'm going to cap it off. It's full. Probably still air in the system. Capped off. All our everything seems to have a, what's the name, a hose on it. Give it a few more reps. Developed some pressure, not really, but just it's holding. Hasn't opened the thermostat yet. Check my water pipes down the back here. Yep. And the hot water circulating through, I can hear this over this, but the hot water is circulating through our heater core, through our block. So I've capped off the little cap there. Got the cap on this, I'll just have a look at that. You can see she's full. Just release the pressure out of it. Yeah, it can release its own pressure when it's ready. Basically, just want to let it sit there and idle. Put our fingers on the fan until this opens up. The motor sounds smooth enough at idle, which is a good thing. What I'm trying to get to happen is the thermostat to open up. So I'll throw the water to the air bubbles coming out there. So if you're wondering what that sound was, well, that was 5,000 RPM with an exhaust system, a factory stock exhaust with a couple of rust holes in it. So we're getting some warmth there now. So this is thermostat's nice and hot, starting to open up. That'll let a bit more air bleed through, back up this bleed line to there. And hopefully this radiator cores will start to go. Hopefully the relays are working, thermo fans will kick in. Common problem that they don't, but we'll get that sorted before we go to the racetrack. It's getting nice and hot. But we've got it pressurised, so that's good. Guys, a little bit of the exhaust we've been blowing out then. I hit top RPM. Yeah, that's nice and hot. Still don't have the thermo fan kicking in, so that's a concern. But it's not overheating. I'm checking the gauge. We've got a decent temperature. We're not boiling in our block. My ball head. So that's hot enough to touch. That's for the water. Thing works beautifully. I can start to smell the smell of the rotten egg gas coming through the catalytic converter. So she's certainly running efficiently, getting some gas through. I'll give her a couple more rats for you. Oh, you'll be sorry it was at work today. shut this down now, guys. We've got a bit of pressure build up in our system. I haven't got a thermo fan kicking in. The temperature gauge is high up the range. The system's full of water. Doesn't look like we've blown a leak anywhere. We could have a blockage. There could be a number of muck that's come through, so could have a dodgy thermostat. This is just to reuse the thermostat. So I'm not going to go keep pushing this. I can hear it hissing down here somewhere. So that's valid for some investigation. Alright, I can hear a bit of hissing, so I'm just down here and I can see, looks like steam coming out of the top pipe on the radiator, on the heater core, so that's certainly a concern. We'll have a look at that one. I'm going to leave it because it might come round. Sometimes old pipes have been sitting around, just need a bit of heat and a bit of pressure, help them find their way in life again. So that's one possibility. It's certainly got the pressure in it, certainly got the water in it. So yeah, that's definitely a concern. We need to look at that one next. I need to work out how to get this thermo fan working. So it's either a relay that's not connected, broken, or otherwise. So that's, look at the fuses. Typically the relays do play up a little bit because they get the water down in them. So we'll give this a clean up, check it all over, check all these fuses, swap a few around, see if we can get it to work properly before we go any further. But I'm definitely happy with the engine for a bit of a Frankenstein build. The head I was told was good, so I didn't bother getting it crack tested, leak tested. I checked for warpage on it, couldn't fault it there, could see no real issues in its life, so I'm relatively confident. I haven't developed any oil leaks yet, so that's a positive. Check this, check down the front of this timing cover because that'll be the big one. Yet. So yes, small steps moving in the right direction. The mighty 172.